A state senator in Virginia has compared women to hosts when they're pregnant. This is Representative Steve Martin, or State Senator Steve Martin, I should say. And apparently he received a Valentine's Day card from a reproductive rights organization, and it urged him to change his voting record when it comes to reproductive rights in the state. Well, he took great offense to this, and he wrote the following on his Facebook page. I don't expect to be in the room, or will I do anything to prevent you from obtaining a contraception. However, once a child does exist in your womb, I'm not going to assume a right to kill it just because a child's host, some refer to them as mothers, doesn't want it.
So when I saw this, I thought, wow, what a strange way of putting it, right? And then an idea popped into my head. It's because you have to understand, in our context, we view women and men as equals, and we don't have this vision of like the biblical vision. Honestly, if you take it literally in Genesis, that says God created women to be the helpers of men, right? They're not here to do anything but to serve men, right? I never grew up in that. Anna didn't grow up in that, so we don't understand that, right? But if you grew up in that, you might think, well, okay, a woman is not really relevant, and in fact, for long periods of history, whether it was in Islam or Christianity, they were treated as property, right? But what is relevant is the unborn, because it might be a male. Okay, so that's why we never could understand, why do they care more about the quote-unquote unborn than they care about the born? Why don't they care about the woman? Because the reality is the woman is irrelevant in that mindset, in that worldview, but she's relevant as a host because she could be carrying a valuable male. Now, I know that if you didn't grow up in that like me and Anna didn't, right, you got to be thinking, no, that sounds crazy. That can't be the case. But that's because you're not as bad as these guys. You're not sexist like these guys. You didn't grow up in that context. That's why he says things like, you know, she's valuable as a host.
Yeah, she's nothing more than a vessel to deliver a baby, and that's it. Hopefully a male baby. Look, these stories keep popping up, and what always interests me is how you get this pushback from the right wing when it comes to this war on women. And look, maybe that phrase is something that makes everyone feel uncomfortable, even progressives. But the reality is, the reason why that was even coined in the first place is because you keep getting statements like this from Republican lawmakers. If they want people to stop using that phrase, if they want the mentality to change toward the Republican Party, they need to stop referring to women as hosts or vessels, or, you know, they need to stop doing things to get rid of reproductive rights. Focus your attention on other issues, right? So they say that they care about the economy, they care about balancing the budget, they care about creating jobs. Focus on that. In 2012, all they would focus on was legislation that would help fuel the culture wars. So that's the reason why people keep saying that this is a war on women. And that's the reason why I say that women who vote for Republicans are absolute morons, because they're not looking out for you. If you want to be submissive, if you believe that your only role on this planet is to serve your husband and to serve other men, then that's fine. Go ahead and vote for Republicans. But the reality is they see you as second-class citizens. They see you as a vessel. They see you as a so-called host. They're very freaking clear and blunt about it. And if you're into that, cool. If you're not, stop voting for these crazy people.
He then changed his post, to be fair to him, and when he got in trouble, by the way, and people were like, you know that's not a good way to refer to women. He's like, oh, yeah, I kind of meant that. I knew that. I was joking. So he changed it to, they are the bearer of the child.
And then he
wow, woo, thank you. We appreciate it. You're not merciful.
And then he released like a semi-apology. Let me read that to you. He says, I don't see how anyone could have taken it the wrong way. You referred to her as a host. It was me playing their argument back to them. Obviously, I consider pregnant women to be mothers.
But no liberal or progressive or pro-choice woman ever made the argument that women are hosts. It makes it sound like they're out of the movie Alien, right? Nobody ever made that. No, you made that argument. By the way, this guy was the former chairman of the Senate Education and Health Committee in his state. This is the guy they put in charge of your health and education.